All right, hi again. I hope that you're having a good day. I just came to talk, so um, yeah. So where to start? I don't know. I guess a side note is I was watching something about ASMR videos yesterday. It was by one of my favorite YouTubers, and she had a different approach to it because she doesn't do it. But I was like, I'd like to try that in a specific kind of environment, but I'd like to try. So, um, yeah. So, other than that, today's been kind of low key. Um, just got some work done, had a good time doing it, and so I'm was in the middle of watching the news, but I put it on pause. So if I have like a blue kind of cast, probably from the light from my monitor here, but I figured it was helping my lighting situation because it's a little dark in here. So that leads me to a very exciting announcement. I ordered a new lamp and a new bulb, so I'll have new lighting going on. I ordered an architect's lamp. It was like $16 on eBay, and I ordered a daylight LCD bulb. And so that's gonna be great because right now I'm working with like just like a standard lamp, like a little clip desk lamp, and like a yellow, like plain bulb. And not yellow, but it's not like white light, you know? So I ordered that because I needed new lighting and I wanted to invest into painting where I needed to. I'm taking painting more seriously than I ever have before, and you know, it was nice to be like led to understanding that I needed to make an investment in myself, in my profession. I had been using the same paints for like years, and it could take me a while to go through paints because I haven't been working in a big format recently. You know, like I used to work as big as I could, like not even as big as I could, I guess as big as I was capable of doing. Um, you know, like 15 years ago or so, when I first graduated from school, so 2003. So, you know, I guess 16 years ago, um, I, well, it began like when I was in school and I actually had a studio and access to like floor easels. I later started buying my own when I graduated. But you know, like I had a personal studio and, you know, it wasn't anything grandiose, but it was mine and the school let me stay there. So it was awesome. Um, I'm really thankful to them for that. You know, I feel like they had confidence in me, and I'm really grateful for that kind of support. You know, so so I was building my own canvases. Like I would buy my own wood and you know all my supplies, my canvas stretcher, and I'd stretch my own canvases. And so I think what I wound up building successfully more than once were canvases that were like 3 feet by 3 feet. Um, But after school, like that takes a lot of time and space and a relatively industrial work area, um, because you're like dealing with wood, and usually you can get it cut yourself, like at like the lumber place, like Home Depot or any places like that. But really, it's better to build your own, because when it comes to like the corners, you have to like get that right. And places that deal with like home repair, and it's not fine art. Fine art is like jewelry, it's like tattooing, it's like makeup, it's like all of those things. Like it's an art. Home decorating stuff, like people who work there, the machines that they have, the approach isn't what you necessarily need, especially when you're getting somebody else to like cut your wood for you. And then you have like supports. So unless you get like the dimensions like perfect, you might have to go back and forth to the supplier. So, I say all that to say I prefer doing these things at home. I prefer do everything in studio. I like having a dedicated place. Like I have a kind of a studio now, like I guess my living room area. Like if you've seen the picture of my easel, like my French easel, the folding one, that's my living room area. I have a really small apartment, but that, area has like a table, like a folding table with my tattooing supplies on it, and then in the corner is my easel, and then that's where I would usually paint. So I would call that my studio, but I don't have the tools here, and basically I don't have the environment to be painting really big, because I don't even have my floor easel here. So, but if I have my choice, I would just build, and I like painting big. Like I have a lot of respect, like when I would go to museums, or even my like instructor in school, she like used to paint big and beautiful paintings, like big realistic paintings. So I feel like paintings look really good that way. I would even say that they look their best that way. Like the most recent painting that I put on my website was of my hand that I've been working on for the past couple months on and off. So that was like a study, because it's like the size that I would want to paint in, it's actually life size, but I just decided, let me just do what I can fit on a relatively small page, so I can have more finished products, so I can learn how to stop. Because another thing is, like one thing about me is that I'll take forever doing almost anything. But with painting, with art in general, but especially with painting, like it's really challenging for me to reach a finishing point, and knowing like where, just when to stop, like when to say like, okay, we're done. Well, not we're done, like the painting's done, putting my hands up, walking away, starting another painting. It takes me like sometimes like a long time, and as a professional painter, I have to get to a point where I have finished pieces. That means I have to finish pieces, and usually I get to the end of a piece and of anything, like as far as art is concerned, and I always feel as if it could be better. So I'm thinking I could fix this, I can add to it, or I can do something. So doing the smaller pieces, I was thinking I could have more practice in stopping, like, or finishing a piece of art. So that's where that kind of theory came from. So I ordered the lamp and I ordered the light, and I think I started on this earlier in this video, but I've been working with like the same paints for like a while, and like I'll because I don't work really big, so my paints last a long time, and so I've been using like artist student grade art, no, student grade paints. And I've been researching like brands and stuff, because I felt as if, like, even if you don't have all the colors that you would want or the quality that you want, you're still you, and I would be able to work with it, you know. But then I got to this point with the same like horse painting. It's in this picture with the French easel. The French easel is the easel that is like collapsible, like the legs can fold into themselves, and then they fold back and around, and then you have like straps and metal clips, and you can carry it, and there's a compartment, like a drawer that slides out, and that's where you put all your supplies, and they're designed to have the legs be at different angles, and that's to support the easel when you're outside painting. It's a French approach. It's a French thing to paint outside, like landscapes and things like that, to like go out in nature, and that's what these easels were originally designed for. It's not like a folding easel that's like stationary. These like if you're on a hill, you can have one leg of the easel be really short and the other one be like really long, and that way you can paint wherever you want. Rather, like if you had two stationary legs that never were able to be adjustable, you would have to be on a flat surface. You wouldn't have any choice. So my French easel has the picture of the horse, or the painting of the horse, on it. I reached this point where I was having problems with the colors. Like, I don't really stick to like, really adhering to like absolute colors, like realistic, this is definitely this color. Like, I try to, and I probably will get better with this as I develop a more consistent schedule, but sometimes I don't paint for like weeks, so my colors, like I'll try to get them the same, but usually I'm doing different things. So on the horse, it's like I'm going in trying to do shadows and highlights and stuff like that, but I was never reaching like a good point with the colors. And my thing was, like, if I'm good enough, I'll be able to mix any color I want, or at least get to a point where I can make any color that's as close as I need it to be. But I noticed with some of my colors, or some of my paints, they would frustrate me because the payoff would just be like almost transparent, and it would be a paint that I really needed the color. Like burnt umber is a really important brown, and white is really important, red is really important. And so those are the colors I had like in student format, because I started researching different brands and I started comparing. What I did was I did what I needed to do, and I compared what I had in my stash of paints versus, and which brands they were and which levels those brands were. And so what I did was I ordered 4 paints to replace the important colors. I found, I guess, a lot on eBay. It came in the mail today. And so what this is I was looking for burnt umber in a higher grade than what I had, and I wound up finding a lot of 3 that had red included, which was another color that I needed, but I wasn't going to get it this time. But then when I saw them together, it made sense. It made more sense to buy this lot. And then as a bonus, I guess you could say, I received a turquoise kind of color. I forget. I think it was named turquoise on the site. But So I went with Winsor & Newton this time. I have their, like, can you even see this? Yeah, there it goes. I have their student line, which is called Winton, Winton. And what happens is that you just don't get as much pigment. And the Winton line is has a reputation for being almost professional quality. These are listed as being like medium, like a cross between professional and student. So this one's bright red. This one's burnt umber. This brown is gonna take off, and I think this red is going to as well, because the notion of like red being part of like every skin tone because there's blood underneath is a very excellent point. And this one is phthalo turquoise. So I know this is cheesy, but I guess I don't focus. But yeah, so I'm excited to use those. I have one more, and I wound up ordering white, and so I tried a different brand in that just to see like how it would be, because I think over time what I'd like to do is graduate up quality. Like these are about $10 a tube, and I got 3 for $20. So, and then there's other ones that are like double that, maybe triple. Like I just didn't even go into that realm because I wasn't interested in that kind of price point this round. I'd like to try, and I'd like to try different brands. I'd like to try different levels, and over time, hopefully, like just working bigger, I will use up the lower quality paints that I have for like backgrounds and stuff like that. You know, like Rembrandt, like the portrait that I did of myself. It's easiest to paint yourself. It's easiest to like work on your own face when you're practicing or trying like something new, which I was doing in that painting. But that background is like reminiscent of Rembrandt, and Rembrandt always did these like dark, shadowy, almost black, but it's brown backgrounds. I really like that. So I'm biting his style a little bit. I don't feel any kind of guilt biting the style of Masters, because there's no comparison, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we are now. Oh, and I'll always also be using a desk easel, because I like sitting here at my desk. I like being able to take a break, play a game, or watch YouTube. Over in that area, I just feel kind of isolated, but then also I don't have like a palette that you hold, you know, like I have them, I've had them, but I don't have one now. What I'm using now is like this game where you have stones, and it has like 2 bigger, I guess, carvings into wood on either side, and a whole bunch of like little carvings going to and from each one. It was a game I used to play. Like you move like once or twice per move, and you have to try to get like all of your stones into the opponent's, I guess, cubby hole. But it's a wooden basically board, and in the smaller areas I have my paints. So, and it's a little bit heavy. So when I'm painting over there, I don't like my paint sitting in my lap. You know, I'd like to stand and paint, but it's not that, the easel's not high enough. And then the chair that I have, this chair isn't so hot because the wheels don't really roll on it, and it's strange, but it's good for this desk area where I can be like stationary and just kind of pivot, you know. The other one is like higher, but it's like way squeaky and it's just uncomfortable. Like, it's cool, like if you're just gonna sit at my like little mini bar and just have a drink for a few minutes and then relocate to like maybe the couch. I don't know, but like over half an hour or an hour, it just doesn't work. So those are the chairs that I have in my apartment. So here at my desk, like, it's just comfortable and I feel like I can go for a longer amount of time. It's just the challenge was this desk lamp only has a neck that is like this long, and then at the end is the actual lamp, and then the bottom part has the clip, and it doesn't light from overhead because it's short. So with the Architect's lamp, it has like two parts of its neck, and so you can extend it up, and then also the lamp itself is adjustable, so I can like have it shine down. So that between having light from overhead and a white bulb, it's just gonna be a way better, I don't want to say better, I don't want to say easier, because I feel like anything with art that's a challenge, even though your work may look shitty or you may be pissed off, it always adds to your work in the long run and contributes to you as an artist. Yes, I know it's like that in life, but in art it's just easier. I can get pissed off in art and, you know, I guess start again, and I guess maybe I'm used to it. I don't know. I don't like most of my work, to tell you the truth. Like, I haven't gotten to that point where I'm like, I get to this point where I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that. And well, I finish something, and sometimes I'll be like, that's fresh. But then like in a week or two, and that's not everything, that's like some things. In like a week or two, that's my heater, by the way. That's not a ghost. My heat blows from a vent that's over here, and from what I understand, there's like a fan that's supposed to push the heat out. Winds up just feeling like cold air most of the time, but I think it works. It's not cold in here. So anyway, I just saw this catch my eye and I was like, oh gosh. Whoa. No, but yeah, so it's not like an easier time. And as far as like my work, like after like a few weeks, I'll be like, man, I could do better than that. And man, I look at my body of work and I'm like, that's okay, you know, but it's not like professional quality. Like, it's not what I look at, you know, when I look at a certain body of work and I'm like, this is just pages of like perfection, like piece after piece after piece, like even in between start and finish, even the very beginning, halfway, it's like all of it is good. Like, that is the level that I'm like trying to articulate. That's the level that I would love to see in my work. But right now all my work looks like practice, and it's like okay, and I've been doing this so long, I'm still not there. I don't think that I'm hard on myself. I don't think that I'm missing anything, honestly. Like, maybe that's like to be discussed. I don't know. But anyway, but yeah. So when I think the new equipment gets here, like, it'll just be cool, because then I can see more of the details that I want to see. And then with these paints, I can get like what I'm looking for. Because another thing about that horse, I wasn't able to achieve highlights and detail in the face because the paint didn't have the colors that I needed to achieve what I wanted. Like, the pigment wasn't strong enough that I could use a thin layer and do like little dainty detail work, which is needed for like a little tiny horse face. You see what I'm saying? Working bigger is easier. It may seem like, oh, it's so intimidating, but really working big is so easy, because you could like see everything that you need to see. When you're working small, you go into this like France of impressionist like thing, you know what I'm saying? Like Monet, like far away, like, oh, I see, but up close, it's just kind of figuratively speaking. So it's the same here. Like, I don't have like, hairline brushes. And even if I did, my paints don't really achieve what I need them to achieve. But this also may be my shortcoming as a painter. Because if I was more fresh, I may be able to accomplish, I may have already been able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, but maybe me just not being at the level that I need to be at, maybe that's why I haven't achieved it yet. I don't know. We'll see with the paint. I have my theories, and I don't think that I'm being easy on myself by, thinking that an upgrade will make my work better. But working, with whatever you have, like just keeping on trying, not beating yourself up too much, not beating yourself up to the point where you stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be like so frustrating and nothing will look right. And, especially when I'm going from like one medium to another. Like if I go into like colored pencils, like I don't practice with colored pencils like hardly at all. I never have. I've always enjoyed buying colored pencils and having like a big library of them. Like I have a pretty good library now. It's probably like 50, but still it's a good variety. Like 50 colors, 50 different colors. Like wow, But I don't practice with them. I just don't. If I'm gonna use color, I'm gonna paint. So I don't have 50 paints. I work with like 10. So, I figure like I've learned like some can take you like some you kind of need like bright colors. You can't just mix a bright color. Like I can't mix like a super bright blue without like a good yellow, and I can't go really far in any direction without other colors, and then you get into this paint theory situation. But basically if I switch mediums, my work is not gonna look that fresh. I'm pretty fresh with like having a photo reference and graphite pencils. And when I use graphite pencils, this is my bag that I use. You can see inside. But this is, I use this for school and this for whatever. It was like in this clearance pack, but these pens are really good. I don't like pink so much, but I really like these pens. So, and I have a couple Sharpies, a G pen tip, which is a nice tip. These are awesome. These are super awesome, actually. It's so convenient. Like I have like liquid ink that I use with this, and in this situation. So, but back to the pencils that I use. Like it's easiest for me to use. I use this this is like a fat lead. Can you see this? There. It's like a fat lead pencil. It's not the best lead that I have, but sometimes I need a thicker stroke. But this has its purpose. My favorite is this. I like their product Staedtler, and it's thin, but it's a soft lead, so it's like dark and soft, but the lead is really thin. So this one, the lead is not, it's not dark at all, but the width of the lead has its place, especially for like starting a sketch. I'll like start a sketch with this, and then continue it and choose my lines with this. And then this one just has a different lead in it altogether. So it's like two different kinds of thin lead. So these are the three that I use. So that's easiest for me. Like, these three are easiest. And then my favorite eraser is a gum eraser. So these are just the bomb. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. Like those like gummy hard erasers, like they're cool and stuff. And then so I'm using like a middle HB 0.5 lead. It says C25 Japan 60 millimeter. I don't know millimeters. I don't know metric. And then I have B. Yeah, B is the bomb. Like H, you're going harder. B, you're going softer. I love the B junk. Sometimes it smears a little bit, but it's the bomb. Like, I love a good payout. And then, let's see, a 7 millimeter B. So I think what it is that I have two leads that are for this, because it's a 0.5, and then one that's for, this is a 0.5 too. I think I have a 7 somewhere, but I don't think it's in here. So that's what's easiest for me. Like, oh, and then there's this. Like these are okay, but they have their place. You gotta break them a lot. So, and then I have just like, oh, I have more lead. 4B. 4B is the bomb. I think I might have 4B in one of those other pencils. So, yeah. So you gotta, I don't know, that kind of stuff. Like, you know, I think I've spent so much time with graphite and stuff that I've gotten the most used to it. So that's like my comfort zone. A reference photo, some graphite, and be done. Pen work is harder, but it's really satisfying. So I use Copics, and right now I don't have my preferred set of Copics right now. Like, they're a little too small. Like 0.3 is as big as I have right now, and then I have a 0.1, another 0.1, and a 0.03. But I force myself to use the 0.3 because I'm not good at it. So another pen, and I have like a highlighter. So, but if I was to switch over to colored pencils, I would just be like, man, pretty much fuck this shit. But like, I would get somewhere, you know what I'm saying, like with it. So it just wouldn't be like, wow, I just did the thing, you know. Like, it would be like, well, I got somewhere. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to go and finish doing stuff. I guess finish watching the news, maybe get into some paint situation. So I'm excited to use these. They should be awesome. Another thing about my paints is when I was shopping for them, like initially, I was really trying to avoid high levels of toxicity. Like, they tend to have ratings for toxicity, made in France, so that's nice. Not saying like France is good or better or whatever, but sometimes countries like take art more seriously than others. Like, that's why all my Copic pens are the bomb. Like, Japanese ink is the bomb. The G pen is the bomb. Like, that brush pen, get out of here. Like, there's nobody doing that shit, this, for sure. Like, Germany does pretty good with Staedtler. So they're good with like graphite and stuff. So is Japan. But then when it comes to like paints and stuff, like American paints, you start getting into like Paint House, like specialty stuff, and it tends to just be out there as far as price. But then you have other places that are just like into painting. Like America isn't really into art. Like they're into art to a degree, but it's not like a common thing. When you go to museums and stuff and you see American painters, you don't see as many. You know, here, like, you have like the contemporary and new artists, but what I'm talking about is like back in the day, like stuff. Places that have been into like certain kinds of art for a long time, I see it being the country of manufacture, and I get a little like excited. Not saying it's the best all the time, not saying like it should just always be considered the best, but I have used the minor brand of these paints, and I think I have a couple of the semi-pro. And I think those are the colors when I use them. I'm like, gosh, this is so good. And then I use other colors, and I'm like, what is this? And so we'll see how it goes. But I'd like to try paints from everywhere. I went to like a message board, and I was reading about people, and one person mentioned one in like Holland or some Scandinavian place. Yeah, so and then other people mentioned, like another person mentioned like a brand that's only made in Montreal, aka Montreal. That's how my mom says it. I don't even know what happens in that kind of translation, but but I looked up the brand and I couldn't find it anywhere. So, and then I found other places, other pieces of other brands, and I think a couple of them were American brands, but then they get into like that specialty zone, and the prices just start getting like way out there, and it's cool, but it's a little bit of a jump from where I'm coming from. Another thing I kind of like doing is like the step-by-step, like graduating approach, like, not skipping steps. Alone, I skip steps and it doesn't fare me well. Like, in language, I've been having that problem. Actually, I haven't skipped really forward at all, but I haven't gotten the fundamentals. But I'm still trying to do like more advanced stuff. Wonder why it's not working out, but that's just how it goes with me. But graduating up bit by bit does really help, so I'm looking forward to what equipment and pieces of work, like pieces of like tools that I'll have, like even like hardware, stuff like that. So, but on that note, I will go, and I will talk to you soon. I hope you take care of yourself in the meanwhile and be happy and have fun. And yeah, so good talking to you. Bye.